Hello everyone and welcome to Knife Craze. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Grandway folding hunting knife. Now, Grandway. As far as I know, their knives are made in China. I've never owned a knife by Grandway before. I've never owned this particular one or any of their knives. So this is something that's really new to me and I'm going to review it for you today. So here we go. So, let me just start off by saying that I got this knife on Amazon.ca, that's the Canadian site, for about $18. I believe it was actually $18 flat. There wasn't even any tax for some reason. And the knife itself is really good, but the sheath, on the other hand, it's crap. It's single stitched, really cheap, material. It's Velcro, snap, really thin, really just cheap single stitched belt loop. So I wouldn't recommend carrying this in the sheath because any good movement could cause this to just tear. Now I'm not going to wreck it, why wreck it? I'm just saying chances are if you were carrying this around, the sheath would probably get wrecked far quicker than the knife would. So that's the sheath for you. Kind of like a pouch really. And here's the knife. Now, I've never owned this style of knife before. This is, as far as the Amazon.ca description is concerned, this is a Spanish clasp knife. I don't know why they call it that, but apparently that's what it is. Essentially what it is a folding knife with a blade that's longer than the handle. So when you open it, it's kind of like the size of a Buck 119 fixed blade. So without further ado, let's show you guys this. So, the knife is very long itself when it's folded, let alone when it's open. So let's just measure that, show you guys. Alright. The total length of this knife when it's closed is 7 inches long. So if you're going to carry this in your pocket in a place that allows you to carry a knife of such a size, this is probably going to fill up your whole pocket, and if you're wearing track pants, probably going to weigh you down. Because track pants are really loose. So yeah, it's a big knife. In fact, it's got a lot of weight to it. It's just as heavy as the Buck 110 Folding Hunter. If any of you own that knife, you know how heavy that is. This knife is about the same weight. So, what I like about it, just on first observation, is this beautiful simulated wood handle and all this kind of nickel chrome colored detailing. I think it's a really nice knife, just the detail itself, let alone what it looks like when it's fully opened. It kind of has a luxury look to it. So, it's kind of fancy, but at the same time, it's badass. In fact, I think this knife is even kind of scary. So to open it, it's just like any other folder. Opens like that. You fold this part in. This part, by the way, protects your hand when the knife is closed because the rest of the knife folds into this, as you can see. Right? So there it is, it's all closed up. And now when it's open, sorry about that guys, that was my neighbor. She was being kind of loud, so I just shut the garage door. Anyway, it's a very big knife and it's quite intimidating. When you look at that thing, that is badass. It really is. And even though this blade covering here that folds in kind of covers the finger choil, it's actually not even that uncomfortable. I can hold that firmly and it feels fine in my hand. It really does. The handle fits my hand perfectly, so that's a plus. And you got some of this nice detailing on it, some holes here, some holes here. So it's kind of a fancy knife, kind of a show knife, but I'm sure if you were in a fight with this thing, it'd definitely do some damage to you. Let's measure the blade. The blade is about 6 inches long, maybe 5 inches and 3/4. So that's a fairly large knife. Fully open, you're looking at about an 11-inch long knife. So if you're in Canada, specifically Ontario, according to what the current laws are saying, this is not something you'd want to carry. This is something that I just keep in my home, in my collection, because I think it's cool. This isn't something I'd carry. Not only that, for an everyday carry, this seems kind of impractical, but if you're in a state or a province, wherever you are, and they allow a big ass, knife like this, I'd say go for it. Now, let's point out some of the cool details about it. So on the blade here, it says 420 steel. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. But when I got it, it had a razor sharp edge. In fact, the knife is capable of shaving hair. I haven't even really done anything with it or sharpened it. This is the factory edge. See that? That's hair from my arm. I'm just trying to get a good view right there. That is a lot of hair from my arm with a factory edge. And remember, this knife is apparently made in China. So you know what? I got to give Grandway a thumbs up for blade steel and sharpening job they did from the factory. Thank you, Grandway. So that's good. I like seeing that. Another thing that's cool about this knife is the front of it. Now, I've only seen one other knife that has a blade style like this. It goes up and then it comes down into a clip point. The only other knife that I've seen with a blade style like this that goes up like that and down is the SOG Fielder, which is another folding knife made by SOG Specialty Knives and Tools. And that's the only other knife I've seen with this blade style. So that's kind of cool. And, you know, I'm sure you're wondering, well, you know, how tough is it? Well, this isn't a knife I'm going to test, sorry to tell you. I'm not going to be chopping wood with this. I really enjoy this knife. I'm probably going to keep it as a collector's item because I just don't want to ruin this, all right? But I can say, you know, should you be using this for whatever, it does have a fairly thick spine. Now, I actually have a buck knife that I bought for $25, and it had a smaller folding knife with it. The Buck 876 and 875, I believe it was called. I think I reviewed them already. But the blade on the fixed blade from that was incredibly thin. In fact, this knife here, even though coming out of China, is much thicker, almost ½ an inch thick. So that's good. For a knife coming out of China, it's nice that you get a nice thick blade for added strength. Now, I believe this locks up much like how the Buck 110 does, where you have kind of that pin that goes down here. So, like, you see there how it lifts up, right? And then it, like, locks in. I think it's similar to that, only it's not a lock back. This is, you open and close this by the force of your hands. So you might want to be careful not to cut your hands with it. It's beautiful. The back of it is all closed in while it has to be given its locking mechanism. And the handle, it's not too rough. I mean, in some areas, I think they could have smoothed it down a little bit more. But, you know, given that it's coming out of China, it's only $18, and you're getting an edge that's capable of shaving arm hair, it's hardly a grievance. It's hardly any of a complaint. But just thought I'd mention that. Now, you see, it's your standard folding knife. You have the bay where the blade is kept, and like I mentioned about this piece that sticks out, that's where it holds the rest of the knife. Now, considering that this one hole here is never affected when any of it closes, this hole at the bottom, you might be able to get a lanyard in there. Now, I wouldn't put one through here because you got to keep in mind the blade of the knife folds into here at the tip, so that would just cut your lanyard. But you might be able to get a lanyard into here. So that's kind of nice. I like that. Everything on the knife seems nice and tight. Nothing seems loose. I haven't had to tighten up anything. Haven't had to sharpen the blade at all. So, you know what? All in all, I think I got a really nice, really good knife out of China. For the first time, China actually won when it came to knives. So there you go, guys. So, yeah, my personal opinions of this knife are I really enjoy it. I think it's more of a showpiece, you know, or more of something that you'd use for, like, intimidation if you're, you know, a biker or a gangster. Not condoning those things, just saying. This isn't a survival knife. It's not something you're going to chop wood with or smack the hell out of. For me, it's a collector's piece. I think the quality is impeccable for $18. It's absolutely amazing. In fact, if you notice right here, there's a bit of grease right there. And it was like that when I got it, which tells me they didn't put so much grease on that it was covered. They just put enough in the joint areas so that it can move smoothly. So that's another good thing. So you're getting a fairly good knife when you buy this. I really like that. And just let me tell you, all my knife reviews, I'm not sponsored by anybody, so any of my opinions about the knives are absolutely genuine. I have no contract to anybody. I'm not required to say anything about a knife. I could call this crap, but in this case, I'm calling it excellent because I mean that. So trust me when I say it's a good knife. My rating of this knife. I honestly would give this knife 10 out of 10 stars for a folding knife. It's got a razor sharp edge out of the factory. There's no rust on it, despite the fact I have already washed it. It got some gunk on it. I was cutting open some food and it got some gunk in it. So I did wash it, didn't rust, which is more than what I can say for the Winchester Bowie knife. That shit rusted the first time I even dabbed it with water. It's razor sharp, nice long blade, really nice design, comfortable, solid quality, really nice fit and finish. Okay, except for the couple of areas that could have been a bit better. So yeah, 10 out of 10 stars for this knife on Amazon.ca. That's the Canadian site. I'm not sure if this is on Amazon America, which would be Amazon.com. But yeah, 10 out of 10 stars. Excellent knife, beautiful collector's piece. Highly recommended. Except for the sheath, okay? Well, so in this case, I'm going to give the whole package that you get with it, I'm actually going to give the whole thing 9 out of 10 stars, only because the sheath is absolute rubbish. But other than that, the knife is just 10 out of 10. So, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. If you wish to see more content like this in the future, feel free to subscribe. And have a great day and have a good time. See you later.